Good evening, all. Rajkumar sir, good evening.
Yeah, hi, good evening.
Please start the session, sir.
Yeah, sure. Okay, just a minute. Sorry, just a minute. I'll just open. Yeah, just let me know if my screen visible.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay, yeah. Okay, actually, today also we're going to see the continuations of that Linux, and we'll see a bit in virtualization as well. I mean virtualization in the sense most of them can able to install Linux operating system in their system itself. So some of them will not have the proper specifications to install the Linux operating system. For that, I'll just show you how you can able to uh, get the Linux operating system from the cloud. Okay, so even that will help you to do the practice. Yeah, so actually today we're going to see that. Um, just a minute. See, actually, I suggest you for to understand the Linux operating system to be get bit familiar. So even if you are using that old version, your system will not affect in any attacks because if you download any unwanted links, or else if you're installing some the malicious files in your system, then only your system will get affected. Until that, you don't have any problem. You can directly use that Linux operating system. Okay, even the second thing is like we are going to use that in our virtual box, not like a direct operating system. So virtualbox we're just going to use like a demo purpose. So whatever you want to try do in that, and what on the trial and error you want to perform, you can try in that you can try using virtualbox. So that's why even if it is get affected also, there's no problem. Okay, because that's we are going to use only for the time being. So after that you will close that virtualbox. Most of the time you will be in the Windows, so you can use that. That's not a problem. I mean, the old version in the sense, not like a too old. Even though if you guys are using the latest one, like Ubuntu 25, we saw already yesterday. Even though if you guys are using the Ubuntu latest version, there is a chance of hack. Okay, we can't say that only because of the old version the system is on risk. So even though if it is the latest versions, so if you not properly maintain and if you not properly um, configured, and if you're not aware of a malicious file, and if you're not aware of the malicious link, if you click that file or link in that Linux system, then sure that system will get affected. Okay, so even whenever even you are using Ubuntu has your, how can I say, client versions. Okay, so that time nobody can able to hack directly using your IP address, because if you see, I'll just log in. Okay, so this is my IP address. Even if someone's tried to attack my Kali Linux, they can't able to even reach my system, because this is the private IP. This is not a public IP. If this IP is public, then someone can able to do some malicious activity like scanning to get collect some information. Then they will do some enumeration activity. Then they will try to exploit my system. But actually, this is not a what to say, public facing operating system. This is only uh, working under my Wi-Fi. So if someone want to connect, so who are all in my Wi-Fi, they can able to reach my system. Others can't able to reach, because already day before yesterday class we saw about the IP address. In that, I just explain about the two types of IPs. One is like private, another one is like public. Private in the sense only can able to communicate in the same network, okay, under the Wi-Fi. So if you want to communicate from on the public facing, then sure you need the public IP. Even for Google, Facebook, Yahoo. So we are reaching for different websites, right? We are requesting for the different sites, and we are trying to search so many of things in the internet. So for that, all the things there is a public IP. The Google having public IP, then Facebook having public IPs, then Yahoo, Twitter, Instagrams. So everyone are, even the YouTube also having the public IP. Without public IPs, they can't able to reach anywhere in the internet. Okay, sure they need the public IP. Okay, yeah, good evening. Yeah. Okay, so yesterday we saw till that, so we see how to run some basic commands like ls, and we see how to copy file from one place to another place, and how can we can move the file, how we can do the rename, and how we can able to identify currently we are in which folder. Then I show that how you can able to find the IP address of your current system. Private IP of your Linux system. Then we see that. About the netstat command. So that command will show you that what and all the service are running in the currently in your, not like services, what and all the services are connected in the network, right? That services you can see by using that netstat command. Okay. Then we have then we see that how we can able to give the permission for that specific files or folders. Then we see how we can convert from one user to root user, or from root user to any user. Okay, that's all commands we see that. And even though we need to focus on the file system. Okay, so actually first we need to see the file system, then only we need to get into this all commands. Anyhow, today we see how what and all the file system. Actually, what is the usage of the file system? Okay, so if we go here, okay, this is the file system. Okay, this all the files are like a file system. Okay, there is a bin, boot, dv, etc, home, library. There are so much of files. So this is like a C drive. So each and every files are having the individual usage. Even if we take for the Windows, same. In Windows we see like this. So in Windows C is the main file. Okay, once I get into the Windows, I see so much of folders. In this, the main folder will be um, program files, then Windows files. Okay, these two are the major folders, because in this only most of the um, current running files, everything will be there. Okay, so now we are completely going to focus on the file system. Okay, see, I'll show you the hierarchical key, how the structures, and I'll like give you the example for that. Now this one. Sorry, just a minute. Okay, so there is a key structure. I mean, there is a some hierarchical key structure. Uh, yeah, the structure will look like this. Okay, the slash is the main folder. Under this main folder, we have so much of files. Each and every files are having some unique usage, unique purpose. So the root is like a admin folder. So if you see, here you can see the root, but actually if I would try to directly open this root, you we don't have a permission, because you see that error, fail to open directory root, error operation directory, and it's mentioning that permission denied, because actually I just logged in as a normal user. I'm not actual root user. I just logged in as a Kali is a super user for the Kali system. So the super user don't have permission to access admin folders, so that's why it's showing me the wrong mark here. Okay, if it is look like this, we can't able to access this file. So if I want to access this, I should be a root user, then only I can able to access. For that, what we do, we just change to a root user from the normal user. So using sudo su command, then I can able to move into the root folder. See, now I can able to move to the root or root. Okay, so I can able to create whatever the files I want, I can create from here. Okay, so you can ask me that why, I mean, even we can able to log in as login from the terminal, but why for us it's showing error like in the graphical way. So the thing is like in the graphical mode, I'm the normal user, but in terminal I just converted to the normal user to the root user. Then I try to access that. That's why I can able to access. Okay, fine. So as per the hierarchical key, root is the main. So under root we have so much of things, and the root looks like this. So root will not naming like a root. Okay, the slash is the uh, I mean, slash is the file. I mean, it's look like slash. Okay, so once we hit slash, just show you the sudo su. Okay, so you see here home Kali. Okay, so I'm just typing pwd. Here you can see currently I'm in home. Under home there is a folder called Kali. I'm under the I mean now currently I'm pointing to the Kali folder. What I'm doing now, cd slash. I'm just giving slash. We know that cd is the command that will help to move from one folder to another folder. Okay, so now I am just giving cd slash. Okay, directly you can see here, instead of showing home Kali, it's showing slash. Okay, now I'm giving pwd. So, and if you try to see what are the files folders in that particular folder, you see that bin DADV home, so much of folders are there. Okay, it means slash is the root folder. So under if you get into the slash, we see so much of folders. It's like a C drive. Okay. So first we see what is the usage of the home folder. So if I get into the home, if I see what are all the files are there. So you see there are two files. One is Hari, another one is Kali. Okay. So Kali in this, I mean, this is the username. Okay. So when we are trying to shift from one user to another user, see if I am trying to shift from root user to Kali user. Okay, so I'm just giving hyphen Kali. For shifting root user, you don't need to specify any name. Directly you can give like this sudo su. Directly you can your system will ask the password. Once you give the password, it move it to the Kali user. Okay, but if you want to move from one user to any other than the root user, you should specify the specific user name like Kali or else Hari, whatever the user. You need to specify the specific user name there. Okay, so once I hit, you can see PWD. So now I am in the home and Kali. So whenever we are trying to shift from one user to another user, for that user we need specific home directory. Home directory in the sense, um, in Windows, if someone, if someone having more than 2 to 3 user login, right? So you see that each and every folder user login, there is a separate desktop, there is a separate downloads, everything's are separate. But this folders or this drives are similar. Okay, D drive or is common for all the users. Okay, but for see, the desktop downloads, documents, pictures, musics, videos, this and all the separate for all the new users. Okay, the reason is like whenever we are creating the new user in Windows, there is a folder called user. Okay, so under this user, you can see the name. Okay, if I'm creating one more new user, like admin or else a test user, I can create any user here. If I create that, I again you can see one more folder here based on the username. Okay, if you get inside this, you see there is a desktop, everything. Okay, you can see the desktop documents, downloads, everything that are separate for the all the new users. Okay, that's why once you logged in as a user one, you can't see whatever the files or in the user two in the desktop. Okay, so this is the place for this is the folder in Windows to store, create a new, create a new users, and play, I can say that place the new user, and for every user there is a separate desktop. Same like that, in Windows there is a folder called home. Under the home there is a different user, and for the different user there is a separate desktop, the downloads, everything's are separate. If I give just see pwd, so you see that I'm in the Kali folder. If I give ls, you can see that the documents, downloads, testing, so much of things are there. Okay, for every user there is a separate desktop, separate downloads, everything's are separate. Okay, if suppose once after create the new user also, you're not able to see any user under this home. Okay, just you can get into here by running the command cd/home. Okay, so if I give ls, you see Kali Hari. Now you are creating one more user. Okay, like testing user, test user. Okay, if it is not created here, if you try to, okay, I'll just show you user add. I'm just giving user add command to create a new user. Okay, so for that I need a admin permission. So I'm changing from Kali to root user. So user add, I'm just giving name testing. Okay, so I already created the user. So sudo su hyphen testing. Okay, see it. You can see the warning here. Can't change directory to home testing. No such files or directory. If it you and you are saying this error even though you are running some commands, right? See, you can see that, but you don't have any specific desktop or anything. Okay, you will not get anything like that. So whenever you are creating a new user, you need to make sure for that user the home directory got created or not. The home directory in the sense this is under home, that there should be a folder in the name of testing. Okay, to create a new user there are so much of conditions. Based on the condition we will create, but just as of now I just show that how we can able to create a new user, and just seeing if there is a no home directory, what error you will face while moving from one user to another user. Okay, and you guys will have some questions like, okay, so I'm creating so much different user in the Linux system, then what is the usage of the creating the different user first of all? Okay, even I create hundreds of user to more than 5,000 user. what is the actual uses of the user creation. Okay, first we need to understand that. So the thing is like, just imagine you have a server. Okay, this is the Ubuntu server. Okay, this is the Ubuntu server. In your organization, there are 50 employees are working. Okay, 50 employees are working. Each user having the separate system. Okay, if this user want to transfer, or if the user want to store some data, or else if they want to do some configuration on about the web application, whatever it is, what they will do, they will log into this system, and they will do all the activities here. Okay, they will not keep in this laptop. Okay, they will not keep anything in the specific system. They will send all the data to this system, because this is the centralized device. If this user want to get the I mean, if the user wants some data from this user, right, no need to ask to this user. Directly this user can able to connect from here. This user can able to get the all the details. Okay, that's why we are maintaining the centralized server. So to can I log in as a user? I mean, for in this place, what type of service we use? We use service called SSH, or else we use a service called FTP. So because this two service only have the privilege to transfer the data. I mean, like a basic things I'm saying. So this two service will have the privilege to transfer the data. FTP then says I can able to transfer the data uh, by, I mean, uh, using some username credential. I need username and password, then I can able to transfer the data. So but I will not get the complete like a remote access of the system. Remote access in the sense, if someone know what is any desk, it's similar to that. Okay, so we'll not get any remote access. If there is a SSH service, we'll get the remote access. Okay, through the remote access, what we can do, we can completely access this system, and we can see whatever the files and folders are there. Okay, just a minute. Mm, just a minute. Is that Max? Yeah, sorry. There is a sudden power drop. That's why. Sorry. Yeah. So just think. Okay. Actually, we see that. I mean, we just drop that point in the centralized server. Okay, so whatever the data want to transfer from normal user system to the target system, we have the service called FTP and SSH. Okay, so in this FTP is like transferring only the data. SS is like getting the remote access of the system. Okay, so with the help of that remote access, we can do whatever we want. But the thing is like, so before taking the access of this system, what the server engineers will do, they will create a user here. They will create user in the name of, for example, we have a user called um, test. Okay, test. This user is working for the developing purpose. Okay, there is one more user called test2. Okay, this per user is you working for some other purpose like B activity. So there is one more user called test3. This user working for the C activity. So totally we have a different types of user. So based on the activities, each user um, row, I mean you choose each user row work and they what are the files they are going to use. That it's completely different. Okay, but everyone are having the separate system. All are the same company employees. They will access this server to get collect the data. Okay, so whatever the data they need, all the data will be in this centralized server. From here they can able to collect. Okay, so what the first user will do, first user will log in as a test. Okay, so once this user login as a test writer, this user having some privileges. What privileges in the sense, what type of folder this user can be able to use, what is the um, text file the user can able to read, and whatever which folder this user have the permissions, everything. Okay, so the server engineer will create a permission for each and everything for the specific users. Okay, then only this user can they will provide the kind of permission to log in as this user to this server. Okay, that's why they are creating so much of usernames here. Using that user credential, will we can able to provide the privileges. Actually, if you are running your own system, right, in that system by creating of multiple user is there is no use. Okay, but if you have the server system, if you are working in an organization, there are two so much of employees are working, and you have only one centralized system. Through that system only all the data are getting transferred for one domain to another domain people. Then you need to create users like this, and you need to provide the privileges, and you need to provide access to that users. Okay, because the B users have the complete different activity, right? Then why should the B user want to read the A user datas? Okay, so what happen, they will completely block that. So only based on your roles and responsibility your data will get segregated. Okay, even though in the cybersecurity field there is, I mean, you can ask that, okay, instead of giving this much of user, instead of giving this much of user, we can give this one user called demo. Okay, demo, because everyone are our company employees, right? Why should we give like that? Okay, separate segregating permission for each and every user. Yeah, instead of that I can give the one common user like demo. They can log in as a demo user to this server. They can able to do, even if they read the A user account, B user account, C user account, there is no problem, right? Because same organization employees. But the thing is like, in cybersecurity there is a field called, I mean there is a team called consulting team. Okay, so initially I just explained to you about the GRC team. They are called under the GRC. There are a complaints team like PCI, HIPAA. There's so much of complaints team will be there. What they will do, they will do some analysis on their documents, document in the sense. So if you are running your organization like finance industry, or else if you are running some manufacturing industry, whatever the industries, what that I mean the audit people, I mean instead of saying them consultant, they are auditors. Okay, so the audit people will come and ask you that, okay, you are saying that you have the single server, you are maintaining this, and for all the, I mean for all the different teams you are using the same server, right? So that time they will ask, okay, whether you have some separate roles or not, whether you created privileges or not. So even if you say no, okay, they will not provide the certification, because if you want to get proper certified from that auditor, you need to follow this all the rules. Okay, even I mean they will not accept the wordings. Okay, you need to prepare a proper document. Okay, you need to prepare a proper document. In that document, you need to mention, okay, so this and all the rules for the higher privilege user, this and all the rules for the low privilege user, this and all the, I mean, higher privilege user in the sense, I am saying the point of company stakeholders. So there will be another separate team. There we say that they are all the um, management team. I like a bit higher official, not stakeholders. Okay, so then there is a team called normal I mean senior teams. Then there is a team for trainees. Okay, for everybody they will ask the privileges. Okay, what privilege you are going to give for this particular users and these user. For that everything you need to make it a document and into maintain properly. And the second thing is like, even though if you are planning to change your desktop file, wallpaper, whatever it is, you need to make it proper policies, what time you will change, and at what I mean at what time stage you will change the wallpaper, and what actual purpose of changing everything. You need to make it a proper document. Then you need to showcase to them. Okay, so if you're going as get into the security team, so you need to make sure of this everything. Okay, yeah. So like for this type of scenarios only, mostly we create a users, new users and all. Okay, so for to access, so I mean, once you create a new user, you can ask me that how we can able to access. You, I mean, using SSH, you need some credentials, username and password. So through that password, you can able to access. Just a minute, I don't know what happened. Okay, okay. So now we see that what is the actual usage of the home folder. Okay, then we have one more folder. I'll come to the root folder now. You can see here there is a folder called var. This is also one of the important folder. Okay, so if we get into the var, so there you can see there is a folder name called log. Okay, so under the log, so you can, sorry, dot slash cd space slash log. Wait, cd, okay, first var, then cd log. Yeah. So this is the folder. So inside this folder, you can see all the log activities. A log activity in the sense, whatever the activities I am doing in this current system, it will stored as a log. Even if I keep my system ideal for a half an hour, right? It will, even you can able to identify that whether the system is ideal or not. Even if I try to do some login, or else if I try to do some installation, and if I'm trying, so I mean I'm facing some errors on some specific services, right? So whatever the things, each and every bit of activity will stored in this log. Okay, so this folder you can use for error hand, I mean rectifying the errors. And even you can use this same folder for understanding what happening in your system. For the both thing we can able to use. First of all, the thing is like, so you can ask me how we can able to understand what actually is happening in my system with the help of, yeah, logs. Okay, so log is like we need to it just we can I imagine that log will monitor every bit of activity, like every second, every minute, whatever we are doing with the date and time. And what I mean, even if you are trying to install some specific files, right? It will monitor that you are installing some specific files. Even though it will additionally it will maintain that, okay, so while installing a file, what and all the folders are getting affected while installing that. So each and everything, even that time also will get monitored by this log. So all the activities will be in this folder. Okay, so here what I'm doing now I'm going to, there are so much of folder. I'm specifically going to analyze the Apache log. Okay, you can see here Apache, there is a service called Apache. Okay, cd apache 2. So even if you install any new service, right, automatically the service folder will created here. Under that service folder you see so much of log like this. One is like access log, another one is like a error log. Error log in the sense, while doing some install, for example, now we are seeing the apache, right? So for while requesting this web application, if you are facing some error, right, that error and all will stored here. If the while requesting these sites there is no error but everything's are actually working fine, if it is working fine, the all the success log will be here. Okay, access log is stored the success status and this will store the error status. Okay, so you can see cat access log. Okay, you see that there are few logs. Okay, so you can, you need to you need to know how to read the logs, then only you can able to easily identify what actually happening. Here you can see that this is the website log. So if I try to access, someone is trying to access the website, right, from this server, so that time the log will get monitor. So what I'm doing, service apache to start. Okay, so now I'll open that, the IP of the system, if config. Okay, this is the IP of the system. My Kali IP 192.168.1.166. Okay, so I just pasting here. You can see there is a small input field. You can see. Okay, now what I'm doing, I'm going to read that log, access.log. Okay, you see now there are few more logs. So you see the date as well here. This is the yesterday date. First one is like IP, from which IP someone tried to request this website. Okay, so I'll show you my Windows IP as well. IP config. Okay, so you can see that 192.168.1.40. This is my actual IP. Okay, because I just requested from the Windows. See here, 192.168.143, and you can, this is the destination IP from where you got the request, and this is the date and time details. So you can see that 22nd Jan 2026 you got access, and they try to request normal, I mean index.html file, and you can see what is the Windows and what architecture is that, from which browser they try to request. All the details you will get it here. Okay, even if they try to access some specific file, for example, you can see slash var www.html. Okay, so already we see that whatever the files inside this specific HTML folder, that file can able to access via browser. Okay, if there is a file outside of this folder, that will not be able to access, because Apache will only allow to access the files from this particular folder. Because we say that if someone is asking what is the root directory of the Apache service, means this is the actual root directory. Root directory in the sense, only from this directory it will take the data. Okay, so now we see that here we have the pass.txt file. So I just copy and I'm pasting here. Okay, slash pass.txt. So you say that this is my password, admin at 1234, but actually this is not a password for anything I'm using. Okay, for just and to understand, for to explain that, I just created the name. I just created the pass.txt file and I just typed out this content. Okay. Okay, now what I'm doing, now I'm going to the var log folder. Okay, under log you can see there is a folder called Apache 2. So here I see you can see access log. Okay, so you see this specific log and you can see the same log before before this log, all before this log you can see there are no files or requested. Okay, only I just requested http, sorry, http colon double slash 192.168.1.166. Okay, if you see here you see that, so which particular file I try to request, and before this log you can't see anything like this, just favicon.ico. Only you can see this. Okay, it means it's a normal general. Even if see here, there is a slash, it means root path. A root path in the sense, even for the web service also there is a root, and for a normal user, I mean on the operating system also we have a root. It's a slash. Slash in the sense, in I mean in operating system level, I say that it's a root file. Under this root file, all the files, I mean all the C drive data will be there. Okay, so in website, if you see the same slash value, instead of I can explain you that. Okay, so where www explain HTML. So you see that there are so much of file index.php, pass.txt, php info.php file. So if I just, even I'm not mentioning anything here, directly I'm hitting my IP. You see that there are a input field. This input field contained in my index.php file. This is the root file. Okay, if some what are the files you are creating in different name, that is not a matter. So if you create a name, I mean file in the name of index, that will take it as a priority, and that will consider as a root file. Okay, so that file directly will access by the browser without pointing any files. Okay, if you want to access any separate files, you need to mention like pass.txt, whatever the files you want to access. Okay, so this is the root file. So slash var var log apache 2. Okay, so cat access log. So that's why here you saw just a slash. Okay, you guys are seeing like slash. So here you can see that what file I'm trying to access, pass.txt. So even you can able to try understand what actual files you try to access, and you can see the success code. Success code in the sense, um, if we try to access this file from the browser, right, for the human we can see the graphical way, and we can able to understand, okay, these files are come properly are getting access. And if you are getting some error, right, then we say that there is a error on this page. But actually the browser or browser will understand with the help of response code. Response code in the sense, if you can go to the inspect elements. Okay, right click and you can go to the inspect elements. There you see the, for I mean for module called network. Okay, once you click here, so just reload this page. You see there are some of the functionalities. Okay, so you see the status code here. Status code in the sense 200, 200 in the sense this site is working properly, there is no error. Instead of 200, if you are seeing some um, error page like other than 200, you are seeing 301, 400, or else 500. If you are seeing something like that, then it's not a proper file, there is a error. Okay, so not only 200, there are so much of error codes other than this. If you want to, I mean, response code. Okay. Um, so if you want to see the response code, you can open this site, response code. Okay. So you can see, I mean, not a specific site like this. You can open any site. You can go blog. You can read blogs. There are so much of sites to explain you what is the response code. Okay. I mean, there are different varieties of response. One is like 200, the series. There is a 300 series, 400 series, 500 series. Even we have 100 series also. Okay. Each and every response code, there is a different meaning. But if you understand the response code, right, uh, you have, I mean, as of now we see that, okay, understanding of response code for us nothing. Okay, but once you are getting deeper into the website level of security testing, okay, that time this type of response code will give you some understanding, and you can able to understand whether this based on the response code, whether the application is vulnerable or not. Okay, so it's look like basic thing, but this will help you in the advanced level. And not like advanced level in the sense so much of advanced. If you're getting entering into the website of penetration testing, that time this response code will help you. Okay, so unknown host, I never see that command. Directly, if you're trying in your system, the CD Apache is, if it is not working right, then you need to see whether the Apache 2 is already installed or not. If it is not, you need to install. Then only you can see that Apache 2 folder in the error logs. This log folder. Okay. So otherwise you can't able to see. So if you want to identify the logs on the Wireshark, you need to what to say? First you need to understand the OSA layer. So in that OSA layer, yeah, based on the layer, there are different. You see that info place, source, destinations. Then you see the data, whatever the data is transferring inside that particular packets. Based on that packet, if you know under analyzing that packet, easily you can able to understand that. Okay, so that is the one way. Second thing is like you can even monitor the port number. Okay, if you are seeing some suspicious port numbers or traveling over the network, then you whatever the all the activities you can see in the Wireshark. If I have some logs, right, I can able to explain that. But as of now, I don't have any log, or else I'll just give me a minute. I'll just try to run in my Kali. Okay. So see here, once I click double Ethernet, you see there are so much of traffics are running. So first thing is like DHCP request. You can see there are ARP requests, there are UDP. Based on this, we can understand that. Okay, first thing is like so. First thing is like there are some DHCP request is going on. Okay, so it's like not from my system to my Wi-Fi. Okay, this is like a source and destination. This is like so starting of the network address and the broadcast address. So for in between this there is a request going for as for like a DHCP request. Then you see a ARP request. So ARP request in the sense you can see that 1.68, 1.41, 1.1, then 1.41 is this all the IPs are interacting together to the 1.1 IP. It means that it's requesting to my gateway address. Okay, so if you want to analyze the Wireshark packet, first you need to know what is the actual usage of ARP, what is the actual usage of DHCP, and what is the content here. Even if it is, I'm not pinging any data. You can see here any domain. Okay, so you see that ICMP V6 are there. Okay, ICMP in the sense once you ping any network devices like Google, or else if you ping any Wi-Fi device, so that time you will get this ICMP packet ping in the sense whether the system is alive in the network or not. That you can able to understand. Okay, so you need to know actual what usage of the every protocol. Then only you can able to understand what actually happening in our network. Based on that, you can come to some conclusions. Uh, you can if the you can able to find out whether it's a suspicious data is running or else it's a normal one. That's based upon the company. You need to it's based upon the companies, because some companies, if you go for the if you are going for, there's a different types of companies like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 companies. So based on the company projects, that depends upon the projects, everything. So if you see that you are looking for the role embedded system involving Linux and embedded C. Okay, you are looking like this. Okay, like this type of roles and responsibility you are looking into this. But if you're going for some company, mostly you will work on the embedded C, not on this particular area. Okay, you'll not touch any Linux part. Directly, you will work only on the embedded C. Sometimes you have an option to work on Linux and embedded C. Based on the projects, it will get differ. Before, it's not only in the network company you will get this type of positions. Okay. Okay, same question. Okay, we stopped at the point. Yeah. So where and there's a folder called log. Okay. So if I see the error log now, okay, error.log. See, there are few error logs. Okay, this is like so when someone is trying to request, or else when some request are getting rejected, and if there is any internal system problem for the net, I mean my Apache services, right? That time I will open this log and I will use this log to rectify my issues. Okay, because if you know how to read the logs easily, you can rectify your issues. Because when you are see the error directly on the application level, that time you will see so much of confusions. If you can able to read the log directly from here, that time you come to know that okay, what type of actual error you are facing in the services. Okay, that's why we need to know how to read the logs. Okay. So even there are few logs will get take the backups like after some period of time. So there is a access log 2, 3, 4, 5. There are different types of access log. The reason is like so anyhow in every company they will take the log backup because they want to store the log for around I mean we say that archive logs for 1 year, 90 days for I mean alive logs for the 90 days. Okay, 90 days alive log they need to maintain, and they need to maintain the 1 year of archive logs because if some things happened, they need to analyze the previous data. Okay, for that they need to maintain all the logs. Otherwise they can't able to identify because we can't say that only the attack. I mean we can able to find out okay if the attacks happen now the everyone can able to and I mean found that who is doing that type of malicious activity. Not like that. So sometimes what happens, so after all the instance are completed, then only we come to know that okay, something happened in my organization, something is missing in my from my system, and you will identify that. So nobody will have the access of this folder, even though there are some data are storing and there are so much of unwanted data logs or that. Based on that only they will understand that. Then they will do the analysis on the log files. Based on the log they will see okay from how long period this type of activity is happening. Because if someone's want to attack your network or attack your device, they will not try like within a day, within before half an hour or 15 minutes. They will try for the long time, so they got to succeed. Okay, so from the long time when they are trying to get the access of your system, right? We feel that okay, that's a normal how everyone are trying to access my system, we feel like that. So same way there is a guy trying to access my system. So after that instant happened, complete of seeing the unwanted activities, then we found okay there is a problem in our network, in our system. Okay. So today we are just seeing what is the actual usage of every folders. Okay, if you know the actual usage of every folders, then will help you in the Linux when you are uh, doing some. No, Linux is not just like handling the by basic commands like ls cd, that are not a actual Linux. You once you know what is the actual usage of every folder, so what you can do with the every folder, then only you can able to understand that. Okay, to understand this all the type of things, uh, you need to know how actually, I mean if you want to read the logs, right? So here I am showing, initially I show that home folder, that will be a bit easy to understand because there is a folder home, under the folder there is a another one folder called kali, or else you can see here cd slash home. You see the two folders kali and hari is there. Okay, this folder is created while like when I'm create the use new user, that time this user got created because each and every user will want the home directory in the sense they need some space. Okay, so to store their person, I mean that particular user details. So that's why there is a folder called separate folder called hari kali under the home. Okay, even if you create new for user demo test user testing 1 2 3, if you create thousands of user, the thousands of user folders will created here. That is the usage. And we see that what is the usage of creating the multiple users. Okay, because in if you are creating so much of user in your laptop, in your system, there is no usage. Okay, so in organization level, they will maintain a centralized server. They will add store all the data, whatever the data the employees will access, right, they will store all the data in the server. They'll maintain the centralized server. If the user want to access the data from the centralized server, that time they will try to log in using some type of services called SSH or else FTP. Okay, if I try to log in via SSH, right, the server team will create some privileges for my user level. I can able to access only that specific folder. Other than that, I can't able to access any folders. So that's why in organization level they will create so much of privileges for every users. Okay, so second thing is like we are seeing there is a next folder called log. Okay, where there is another folder called inside there where there is a folder called log. Okay, the cd command, the ls command, actually we already seen this in yesterday class. Okay, if you recall the yesterday class, you know what is the actual command of cd, what is the actual command of ls. If you know this, then why you can able to understand what I am doing here. I am trying to move from one command, one folder to another folder. If you're not aware of this, then it's bit hard to understand. That's why yesterday class we saw that how we can able to handle the Linux basic commands. Okay, we need to we need to understand that Linux command in a better way. Okay, don't memorize that command, you need to understand that command. Okay, so there is a one more folder called where under the where there is a folder called log. So now I am explaining the what is the actual usage of log, and what we do with the what we can do with the log, and how the logs will look like. Okay, for that example, I just taken the Apache 2 services. Okay, Apache 2 services is like a web service that will help to create. I mean, if you are running the service Apache 2 start command, so for this system, activated the web service. Okay, whatever the website data you are putting inside this particular Linux system, you can able to access from the browser. Okay, for whatever I mean, who are all accessing this particular website, right? All the user details will stored on the logs. Okay, that's why you see here there is a specific folder called Apache cd Apache 2. So under Apache, there is a folder called access log and error log. Okay, access log will is like a success data. So whenever we I am trying, someone is requesting, right? If they got the success response, that success data logs will stored in this. If there is a error, if this user is facing error to while loading this particular site, right? That time the error logs will stored here. Not only the error log of the browser. Okay, even though if the Apache service having error in the Kali system itself, that error will also stored here. That error log will help you to rectify that errors. Okay, because if you see from the browser, we see only some common error names. Okay, that will not able to understand that much level. So instead of that error, if you try to read this, right, so cat error log. So if you can able to understand, for that what you need to do, you need to know how to read the logs. You need to understand, if you need to do some research on this. So I'm not deep diving into the each and every logs. I'm just explaining that where you can able to get the error log, where you can able to see the access log. That's it. If I go deep dive, right, then it will take so much of time, but at least we should know what and all the main files we need to s- see, and what we can able to do with that. Okay, because if the attackers get the access of the system, right, even the attacker have the access of this particular folder for log and Apache, so they can able to read the logs. Okay, the success log and failure logs. Okay, in that particular log, if the application is this log can able to store the application credentials, then that credential will help to log in as as a user. Okay, from the browser, if there is a login page here, here we don't have the login page. Just imagine that if you have the login page here, that there are so much of users are try to log in this application, that all the login credentials storing in your access, if it is stored in your access log, If the attacker have the permission to access this access log, sure, they can able to read your credentials and they can able to log in as a user. Okay, so you need to correlate that. Okay, if you're not correlating that everything, then it's a bit hard to do the analysis, because when you are into getting a, when you are into the cybersecurity area, you should correlate all the events. Okay, even the you need to combine, I mean correlate the event from the first event to 10th event. So for example, you are doing some analysis on 1 2 3 4 5, you are doing so 10 type of analysis. You need to correlate the 10 type of analysis, and you need to see whether the first analysis will help you to take the access, or else second analysis, or else whether first and third will help you to do some activities to get the access. Likewise, we need to think. Okay, that's why we are saying the Linux commands, Linux file systems. Commands will give only help you to how you can move from one folder to another folder, how you can read the data, what you, I mean, just like a handling the files, that's it. Other than that, you should know where you need to reach. So once you get the access, first what we need to do, we need to go to the log folder, whether we need to check whether we can able to access the log folder. If I can able to access, I'll check for whether there is any sensitive credential or hard coded data. Okay, that is flow you need to maintain. Okay. Okay, so there is a one more folder called, so I will go back to the root directory again. So if you type cd slash, directly will get into the root directory. So there is a one more directory called proc. Okay, proc is there. So cd proc. So if you see here, you see so much of files and folders. In this, you can able to read the, see, you can read the CPU information, you can able to read the RAM informations. So this information you can able to get from here, and you can see what and all the process are running currently in my system. I mean, we say it as PID. There is a value called PID. PID in the sense process ID. Okay, so if you see, um, just try to imagine that. So anyhow, in system there are so much of services, like WhatsApp is there. Okay, then first, this is the first service. The second service will be browser. So likewise, you will use A, B, C, D, so much of services. For each and every services, what the system will do, it will create the task ID, or like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. It will create the task like this. Okay, so that ID name, we can say it as process ID. Okay, so if you want to see the process ID, sorry. See, you can, if you type the PS, so you can see the what and all the process IDs are running. I mean, this is not a complete process. It's just showing only the process ID of the shell process. I mean, okay, I will explain this part later, because if I want to say what is shell, then it's, you will get confused. I will explain this part bit later. But if you want to see some of the I mean, process ID, you can, it will look like this. Under PID, you can see this and all the process ID. Okay, so that data you can able to see here. Okay, the same, if you want to read the CPU info, you can type cat CPU info. So once you type the CPU info command, so you can able to see what is the processor and vendors, and then CPU family, model name, everything you can see. See here, you can see that Intel, I'm using i5 13 gen processor, P type. So everything you can read it from here. If you want to read the memory, cat mem info, you can see the my memory information here. So here I am, what is the total memory, memory, free memories, and available memories, buffers, cache, all the memory types you can able to see from here. Okay, so system memory and system pro CPU information we can see from here. And if you want to read the operating system details, there is a cat slash etc os hyphen release. So there is a folder name called etc. You can able to read about the current operating system versions. So if I hit enter, you can see that okay, this is the Kali Linux rolling, and you see the version ID is 2025.3. You can see here. If you see that this is a bit oldest version, for example, now we have Ubuntu 25. If you are using the Ubuntu 18, right, then you can you come to know this is the oldest version of the Ubuntu. Sure, you have the some exploit for that oldest version, so you can try for some exploit to get the access of the system. So whatever, if there is any uh, attack way, you can try based on the version vulnerabilities. Okay, so then we have one more folder called, so I'll back to the root directory. Okay, root is the one of the folder. It's like a normal. I mean, we say that that is a root. I mean, how for all the user there is a separate home folder, right? A home folder, same like for a root, there is a home folder called root. Okay, that name itself we mention it as root. Yeah, the name itself mentioned as root here. Okay, so for other than root user, there is a home folder under this folder. Under, if you get into this home, you see different user Kali, Hari. So you can see all the user folders here. Okay, for root there is a separate. Root is a admin for Linux system. Okay, not only the Kali, for all the Linux, root we consider it as a root admin. Okay, so then we have some folders. I'll just show you that. So then we have the boot directory. Actually, we know in the name itself, we there is a what is the actual uses of the boot. Okay, so the boot directory will what to say that. So whenever you are trying to load the operating system data, it will load from here. Okay, so for that there is a directory called boot, and we have one more directory called bin. So it's binary files. Okay, so you can see this all we say this all the files are binary files. For I'll show you one thing. Okay, so you see here, so there is a directory called bin. So inside the directory, what I'm doing now, if you give ls, there you can see so much of binary files, so much of, I mean, instead of saying the binary files, you just imagine there are so much of files. Okay, so there are so much of files. So in that, what I'm doing now, I'm just typing the command ls grep space mkdir. Okay, so the usage of grep command is like, so instead of seeing so much of details, I just want to check whether this mkdir file is inside this folder or not. Just I'm just checking that specifically for the mkdir data. Okay, even this grep command you can use it in the text file. Or if there is a text file, right, I can show you the explanation from there. Okay, I'll do one thing then. So I am not able to see any text file. So what I'm doing now is I am getting into the folder Kali. So here I'm creating some, okay, cat database nano. I'm just checking if there is any files whether to use the grep command. Okay, so here we have a index.php file. Okay, I will use this file. Okay, so you see there are so much of commands. Okay, so much of line of command. So here I just want to see only the enter value. Okay, I just want to see this particular value. So I'm just copying this. Okay, I don't want to see other commands. Okay, so I just want to check whether this enter is already. I mean, what is the actually? Sorry, enter value. Yeah, so enter value is whether it's already there or not. I just want to check that. So what I'm doing, I'm just giving grep and I'm pasting that enter. So you see, so wherever the enter is there, it will show that particular line. So instead of seeing this much of line to get confused, I can able to see like this. So I can easily validate, okay, this value, if this value is there, then I can come for some conclusions. Okay, so that's why we are using the grep command. In the same way, what I'm doing now, so in boot folder, there are, I mean, sorry, not a boot folder, it's a bin. So in bin folder, there are so much of files, right? I'm just giving ls grep mkdir. So instead cat, we know that cat will help to read some text file or some program files. So in program files, if you use the grep, you can see that specific line. So if the mkdir or enter that particular values enter in the text file, that you can able to see. So here I'm using ls command. So in this ls, if you type the ls, you will see all the files. So in the meanwhile, what I'm doing, just grep only show me the mkdir. Just list only if there is mkdir, otherwise I don't want to see anything. Okay, see, you can see here. So I'll just give one more command called touch. Okay, so why I'm showing this, because whatever the basic commands of the Linux we are using, that all the commands are here. Okay, so ls, mkdir, cp, you can see that if you type, so there's so much of cp, and see here the cp command is there. Okay, so whatever the commands we are using, that all the commands will be from this particular folder. Okay, so even if you want to see some new commands, you can know, read about some about that particular command, right? You can type man space. For example, now I want to see what and all the things I can do with the cp command. We know that, so cp will help to copy paste. Okay, so what other things I can do, so I can see what are the options is there, what is the usage of a flag, what is the usage of our attributes only, so backup, b, copy. So much of help commands are there, right? So using this, I can understand that other than copy pasting that files from one folder to another folder, I see that what others can able to do with that cp command. Okay, that is called man, a usage of man command. So if you click on q button, it will get quit. So it's back to the normal. Okay, so then we have the and one more folder called dev. Okay, so whatever, if you are plugging in some hardware devices, right, that all hardware device data will stored here. See example, cd/dev. Sorry, I just want to come back from this folder, then only I can able to get into that dev folder, because yesterday I just show you that. So linux is the case sensitive. Even if you are using some long path, right, you should know, uh, if you want to get into the html. Okay, if you want to get into the html, you should know what all the paths you need to mention before that. So you first you need to get into the var, then www, then only you can get into the html. Instead of giving like this, if you give directly html, you will get this error. Okay, because there is no specific directory, because you need to know under which path that particular html folder is there. Okay, fine. So now what I'm doing, I'm coming back from this folder. Okay, ls, you see that dev folder. Okay, cd dev. Okay, so in dev we can see that hardware related information, like if you are plugging in some USB or webcam, if you are do whatever hardwares we are adding extra, that information you can able to see from here. Okay, that is the actual usage of the dev command. I mean dev folder. Okay, sorry. Then we have one more folder called etc. In this folder we have so much of sensitive details, like if you are creating someone users, right, new user. you are trying to create some new user, so that user detail you can able to read from that etc folder. So I'm again coming back to the root directory, cat slash etc. So even you can use the etc folder to read the operating system version. Okay, in same way I can able to read the what and all the users are there in the system. Okay, you see here testing is there, snort, Raj, Hari, Kali. I mean today only I just create a user called testing. Yesterday there is a Hari, Raj and all already is there. So today I just created the user called testing here. Okay, so the all the user detail you can see from the PASSWD file. Okay, this PASSWD file stored under the etc folder. Okay, once you get into the etc, then only you can able to read that. Okay, so and you the PASSW is the it's a type of text file. It's not any folder. It's just a text file. That's why I'm using the cat command here. Okay, so if you guys are not someone not able to understand what I'm giving here, cat cd, so please refer the yesterday class, because yesterday itself we see that what is mean by meaning of cat and what is the usage of cd command, mkdir, all the different types of command we see there. Yeah, there is a one next folder call, and you can able to read so much of thing if you get into the etc, right? I just want to show one more. Yeah, cd. Okay, so if you are installing some new services, okay, for example, I hope everyone know what is website and what is the database. For database, what we do, we try to install MySQL. Okay, so I'm doing, I'm installing, I'm installing apt install MySQL. Okay, so apt is the type of package you can able to install some sort of service directly from the internet. You no need to go for the some website to download that. So in Linux, not only in the Kali Linux, even in the Ubuntu Linux, even in the Amazon Linux, you have some privilege directly you can able to install. Okay, by using of this apt packages. Okay, so apt, I mean apt's apt command will work only for the Debian related operating system. Other than Debian, apt will not work for them. Yum will work. Okay, so that's a bit different, but other than that commands are all same. Okay, so I'm giving apt install mysql, uh okay, mysql hyphen server. Okay, so if I give that as no installation, okay, I need to install mariadb server. Okay, so what I'm doing now, apt install. See, in Linux you have one more better future. If that package is not there, even there is some alternate package, right? You can see like this. So if you read each and every line, it will give you the suggestion. Okay, instead of showing only the error, Linux will give you the suggestion what you can able to do instead of installing this file. Okay, so you need to read every line. So packages MySQL is not available, but is referred to by another package. This is mean that the package is missing, has been absorbed. I mean, is the only available in the another source. However, the following packages replace it, MariaDB server. So it's already giving all the details. We just want to read and we need to understand that. Okay, so what I'm doing here, I'm just using this particular services. You see, it's asking me yes or no. If even you see the proper detail, if while installing this MariaDB server, so this will get installed. Okay, this one all the supported files for the MariaDB. This all the files will get installed, then only you can able to access the MariaDB without any error. If any one file is getting missed from this list of files, right? Sure, you will face an error. You need to rework on that and you need to rectify that error. But most of the time, while installing this type of packages, you will not get any error. If in the rare case, I'm saying that if you are facing some error, we need to work on it and we need to find the what actual error to rectify, and we need to rectify it. Okay, and we can see how many files are getting installed, and how many are getting, sorry, it's getting upgraded. Sorry, it's upgrading. I saw I saying that It's installing. It's like upgrading. 12 files are getting upgrading, and there are no installation, no removing files. So totally the for upgrading, it's around 143 file. In that, it's upgrading only 12, and we had that total download size will be 16.4 MB. Everything it will give you properly. Okay, and how much space you need from the 61 GB of available memory, how much memory you need, all the details you will see from here. If you are okay with all the details, you can click as and you can install it here. Or if you are facing okay, um, you don't have that much of memory, directly you can click no and you can ignore the installation. Okay, meanwhile, yeah, it's they just created new one more new theme features. Like if you type Kali undercover, it's converted to like a Windows. I mean, if so who are all not I mean, where while doing some graphical model, right, so who is not familiar on the Linux, they feel some bit difficulties to access the graphical model of the Linux. So if they want to use that, they can use the Kali undercover. Yeah. So you see that, so the files got installed and there is no error. Even you see that there is no, if it is if there is a error, you see the law in last line, you see the error commands. Okay, error lines. From that you can easily understand that. Okay, fine. So for now what I did, I just installed the MariaDB. So once I installed that, what happened, right? In etc folder, see here, there is a folder called MySQL. Okay, once you install the MariaDB, you see the folder called MySQL. Inside that MySQL, you see some of the configuration file. So initially, I just I mean, so I don't know who asked me that doubt. So how to access the configuration file? From where we can able to access the configuration file? So that all the services configuration file will be in the etc folder. Okay, so once you get into the ECT, whatever the services are running in your current operating system, that all services files will you can able to see here. So you see the config.db.config, mariadb.config. So and even for Apache also you can see some of the configuration files here. Okay, so Apache 2, see, you have the config file. Okay, so if I see, I can read that cat apache 2.config. See, this is the actual configuration file. Okay, whatever, I mean, if you do some changes on this configuration file, right? So the entire application request will get changed. I mean, request in the sense the flow will get changed. Okay, so even you have one more for, there are so much of things. Um, Site available. Okay. So in this folder, you see that there is a two file called 0 triple default.config, default ssl.config. So if your site is running in the HTTP because of this file, if you redirect whatever the request is coming from the coming as a HTTP, you need to write some configuration on this file to redirect from this file to this file. Okay, this to this. It means that it's changed the HTTP traffic to HTTPS. So this is the configuration file for the HTTPS. This is the actual configuration file for the HTTP. Install. I mean, you need to work on the both the files. Okay. So each and every configure file, there is a unique usage, and you can do whatever you want for that particular services. Okay. Yeah, so this is the usage of the etc folder. So one thing is like you can able to read the user details and password details. I mean, password you can see from here, cat slash etc shadow. This is one of the folder. You can see the user and same way you can see the password, but this is not a plain text. This is like a encrypted data. Okay, if you know how to decrypt that, then you can decrypt and you can get the actual password. Okay, the second thing is like a configuration file. That is a one of the usage. The second we have the mount directory. Okay, mount is like okay, so whenever you are connecting the pen drive in the Windows, right? You see there is a new file, a new volume created here. Okay, if you connect the pen drive, the new volume will create here. But in Linux, even if you are using in the command, right, you can't able to see like that. Sometimes what you need to do, you need to mount that pen drive to some other folder. Okay, so then only you can able to read that file. For that, what most of the time do, there is a folder called mnt. So we mount that particular external hard drive to this folder. So once I mount that file, external hard drive to this folder, right, so I can able to once easily I can get in, sorry, cd mnt, yeah, so I can read the store data what are inside that particular external hard drives. Okay, for that we use the mnt folder, so it means mount folder. Yeah, so there is one of the folders called options. In this options, what mostly will happen, right? So we have two types of installation model in the Linux. One is like, so it's already there. You can see the admins are already posted in the group. I try to show that. Um, yeah, slash opt. Yeah, there's a folder called options. Okay, so we have the two types of installation model. One is like directly you can use the apt command to install whatever, so some of the services, not all the services. Some of the services you can install by running the apt commands. Okay, so it will directly install from the internet. So for some of the services, okay, for example, if you want to install the tool called Nessus, okay, there is some tools name called Nessus. Okay, so you are installing Nessus. Okay, so this is the, or I mean, Tenable is the organizations handling the Nessus file. Okay, you can download from here. Okay, you can download, but if you want to install, there is a separate command. Okay, not like apt install. You need to use the separate command called dpkg. Okay, this is the command. Then you need to type the that particular file name. Okay, Nessus dot. So there will be something abc .deb format. Okay, so abc in the sense it's not actual file name. So once you download, the file name will looks different. So here for the example, I'm just giving how the file will look like. So I don't want to install the Nessus now to, because it will take a time to install. So I don't want to install now. So if you give the nessus.apc.deb, it will install the Nessus file. Okay, so once you install, right, what happened directly, it will create one folder or under the opt folder. The reason is like, so if you're downloading some sort of files and installing in the Linux, right, that time that additional external file details will store in the opt folders. Okay, so each and every folder is having the different usage. If you want to read about the external uh, installation files, right, that time you need to use see the opt folders. Okay, so then others are related to the, I mean, operating systems related files, but mostly we need to look into this folders, whatever the folders I show you, right? So we need to focus on this, because once you get the access of the system, we need to read all these files to understand what if there is any sensitive data or not. So there is a different command to mount that. So that mounting commands I will explain you tomorrow. Okay, so there's a separate command. I'll explain how to mount that. Okay. So it's not a OTP, it's a OPT. OPT is a folder name. Okay, it's a, I mean, how in Windows there is a C folder, right? In same way in Linux there is a C folder. It's called a file system. So if you can see here, open file system. This is the file system. In this file system, you can see the folder called, where is that? OPT. You see the folder OPT where see here you have the folder called OPT. Okay, so this is the folder. So it's not a OPT. Oh, sorry, OTP. Okay, fine. So this is the things. The next thing will like so the I mean this one all the basic thing we need to understand for this I mean for the privilege escalation. I mean initially we see that how we can able to do the information gathering, then we see how to enumeration or do the perform the enumeration, then we see how to exploit that based on the enumerated details. Then once you get the access, right, exploit the server, you got the access. So once you got the access, you need to research this all the folders. And I forgot to say one more folder called temp. Okay, so there is a folder called tmp. So what actually this folder will do, this folder is common for admin users, low level users, for all the users, this folder will be the common one. Okay, so sometimes what happen if you try to run some of the files from the different folders, you will not have the permission. Okay, so if you are running some files, or if you are running some binary executable file, so that time you can't able to install run from different folders. If you keep that files in that temp folder, if you run that, you have the permission, you can run some of the files. Okay, so this is also one of the main, not a important file, but this is also one of the file we need to consider. Once you get this access, if you there is a chance of running some malicious file or chance of running some scripts in that system, right, that time we need to for prefer temp folder to run that file. If you have the power to run it on the different folder, then fine, that's not an issue. So if you can't able to do that, right, that time we need to focus on the temp folder. Okay, I mean that portal level issues, you will get I mean from Excel team they will reach you. Okay. Okay, so this is also one of the folder. Okay, then we have there's one more folder called okay, I'll explain the proc and pin mount root so okay, this one all the main files you need to do the analysis. Then yeah, so we have one more called um I thought I explained this also, this command as well. So it will not store any users about the information, but that temp folder is common for all the users. The thing why I'm saying that we need to give the priority for that, because what happened, right? Okay, So I'll give you the explanation. Okay, I'll give just a minute. I'll back. Okay, so this is the server. Okay, so you got the access. So from this is the server. This is your PC. You got the access. Okay, with the help of some services. Okay, for example, we take that this is a type of through web service. You did some type of activities and you got the access of this system. Okay, so the what you will have the terminal. Okay, not a graphical user, you will have a terminal control. So in that terminal you see that, so you I mean the user will be like www-data. Okay, actually, if you see like this www data, you are not a proper actual user. This is the user of the web service. Okay, so this user will not have 100%, even not a 50% power. So it's like only have the permission to move from one folder to another folder, something like that. You can do some basic level of handling. So in that case, if you have the if you are there is a chance to run some sort of script writer, so that time you mostly will not have permission to run any script on any other folders other than temp. Okay, that time we need to prefer this, but you will not have any user data. Sometime there is a chance what happened, right? They will create some automation task like a cron tab, something. There is a concept called cron tab. So they will do some automation, right? That time whenever they are doing some automation, that time some bit of information will store on the temp folder. Not like it's we can't say only the user level of information. Any type of information will be there. Okay, sometimes that information will help you, some will, maybe some information will not help you on that. So internet and the intranet is like internet in the sense worldwide I mean WAN. So I can able to access if any I mean net I mean like Google, Facebook, I can able to access anywhere. So intranet in the sense only in the LAN network Wi-Fi, under the Wi-Fi who I can able to access it. That is called intranet. Yeah. So if you guys have any doubts, you can ask me. See, based upon that, your I mean virus characters. Okay, if you create that virus, like so, once you someone execute that virus, you are creating that to disturb the next folder. From that, it will to disturb the next folder. If you create like that, so then it will happen. Okay, so if you are just I mean the virus and all likes how you can able to create and you can able to structureize that how it should react once someone is get execute that file. So we can't say that only this will do this type of activities. Okay, so currently we have some of the virus having some specific activities like ransomware will encrypt the system. So we have one normal virus, it will create a shortcut. So each and every virus having some characters that is based upon the creators. So cat OPTs, the I mean CD only we can use. Even I can't able to understand what is what you are trying to ask. There is no commands called OTP. Only we have the command called OPT. OPT is a folder name. Okay, in this folder you can able to see if you are installing some files externally from the inter I mean you are downloading some file and you are installing, right? It's like an external file for that Linux system. So if you are installing that particular file, that file information details, configuration details, everything will store in this OPT folder. That file you can able to access from here. So if you are running directly from the Linux like using apt command, that time your that information will store on the etc folder. So that's the difference. So cat is like a read command, that's it. So if you want to read some text file, if you want to read some program files, that time you can use the cat command. Okay. Any other doubts? Yeah, so I hope today we are uh, complete our task. I mean, task in the sense we see what and all the importance folders we need to analyze everything. And yeah, I forgot to say that if you want to use some cloud services, right, you can use the AWS. From here, you can able to, I mean, from here you can able to create your own Linux operating system. Okay, so using that you can able to do some practice whatever the commands we are practicing here, right? Because the why I'm suggesting for to get a Linux from this AWS, the thing is like some of them will not have sufficient system, I mean specifications to access to install the Linux, to work on the Linux. Okay, so even someone will feel that okay, so while I'm typing that command, you feel that it's better to understand, but even you, if you try from your end, right, that time you will face an error. So you once you start working on the Linux command, then only you come to know that what and all the errors are there. And even someone, everyone will face the different types of error based on the installations and based on the packages, based on the versions. There are different errors will be there. So once you understand how to handle the error, right? I don't know how to use sermons. So, Shiva, can you just bit explain me the question? Yeah, AWS links. First of all, you need to create a user account from this user account in the sense they will charge around 2 rupees while creating the new user. They will charge 2 rupees. After you created that, they will I mean return that money 2 rupees, but initially they will I mean, take amount from your account, bank account, and you need only the Visa card to create this account. So other than Visa card, you can't able to use any other card. Most of the time, you will face decline. Okay, so better use the Visa card to create this account. Once you create the account, I mean, tomorrow I will explain you how to create a Linux from the AWS. But before that, just try to what to say, create a account from this on this, then easily you can able to do that. So Wireshark, if you want to do some monitoring service there, you can able to use that. So other than that, so if you want to understand some conversation bit deeper, and if you want to understand so much of things what happen, I mean, if there is Apache service running, you need to understand everything inch by inch, or I mean, what happening over the network. That time you can use the Wireshark. You can learn many things using the Wireshark. So not only learning, you can do if you want to monitor all the things, you can able to use the Wireshark to monitors. Okay, it's completely like a monitoring service. Whatever the activities running in your system into the network level, all the activities you can able to monitor. So there are so many, I mean, there are many folders. Actually, here I just show you that only the specific folder which you, I mean, which folders and all help you in the analysis or of once you get the system level of access. So hackers will get the IP based upon sometimes you the thing is like the hacker will send some phishing link to get the IP of the personal laptops, because your IP will not get disclosed anywhere. Even if it is get disclosed also, that is not helpful for them. Okay, because IP, your IP and all will like once you are into the Wi-Fi network, that time only it will work for them. So if you're outside of the Wi-Fi, sure they will not have the any access. The IP address, if whatever the things you are, I mean, they will do some OSINT. Okay, so using that they will collect the details about the target system, target IP, target technologies, and so much other details. Directly they can't able to get the IP. They need to do some phishing and they need to perform some OSINT level of activities. Everything they need to do, then only they can able to get the IP. So they can't able to get the access of your laptop through, I mean, without touching, without any double clicking the files, they can't able to get the access. Anyhow, for, I mean, if it is a server facing on the public internet, that time the thing is possible, whatever you are trying to ask. But in the LAN level, so it's not possible without touching your system or without sending any link or any files. It's not possible. They will send something. They, if you I mean, if you click or if you try to open that file, then only they can able to get the access. Yeah. Okay. I think everyone are okay. There's one more comment. The Android and all, it's a bro, very very basics tool. It's like so if you want to hack some of the, I mean, some of your friend system, like nearby who are all in your I mean same Wi-Fi, right? So that time what you will do, you will create a small virus file. In that virus file, you feed your IP. Okay, so the thing is like, so once you install that virus file in any of the system, right? So the virus file should come to your system. So for that, the virus file should know so which is your system, because if someone want to communicate over the network, internet, they need the IP address. So that's why while creating the virus file using the Android rat, we are giving our IP in that. Okay, so then only once someone install that, once someone disturb that IP virus file, what happened that it will collect all the data and come to your system. I mean through that IP. So they can't able to get the access. Yes, they can't able to get. I mean, they will try different ways. Okay, so in the no phishing, in the sense phishing, we have different models, different ways. They will try. So and they will see if there is any loophole or else is there any misconfiguration. Even if sometimes you have the website, in that from that website, whether you disclose some IPs or not, they have so much of possibilities. But without your knowledge, without you, they can't able to get the IP. I mean the private IP or else whatever the IPs you are running in internally in your organization, right? That and all they can't able to get just like that. So public facing IP they can able to get because there is a site name. So through that they can able to get. But other than that, so internal level of data, it's very hard. Even if they want to get, what they will do, they will first get the access of your website. From that website, they will try to get into your system. That, I mean, the application running right in some system. That system. From that, they try to do some. Analysis to get the internal level of IP. They need to do this much of activities to get the IP informations. Yeah. Okay. So I think everyone are clear in the today topics. We'll see tomorrow. Yeah. Hello, Shushmita.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah. So I think we are good with today. So we covered everything. So
Yeah.
tomorrow topic will be the continue of the same. So I'll explain you tomorrow that.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Sure. We'll wind up further. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you all. Good night. Thank you for joining.